It was vacation time when the quake hit. Bricks and glass showered down, smoke billowed from the science lab. The clean-up was just underway when torrential rains poured through gaping roofs and damaged valuable computers. For 12,500 students, the school year began under tarpaulins and in demountable buildings. Each day since then, about 50 contract tradesmen have worked on the reconstruction. It's been tough on the students.
Because of the lack of room space and computers and stuff like that, but other than that it's not too bad.
We turn up to one classroom and find out that we're not allowed to use that classroom, so therefore we have to go to another room. We get to that room and we find out that we can't use that room.
It's pretty hard studying when there's noise and a lot of distractions going on.
Today, amid the rebuilding, there was the sizzle of sausages.
The idea was just basically to say we've made it through the year. The students are about to go into their exam period, so we felt it was a good time to say thanks and best wishes for the exams as well at this time.
The college motto is perseverance. They'll need it. The reconstruction job will continue into next year. Some were wearing an unofficial badge today. Andrew Lobb for NBN News.
The force of the impact sent the 4 locos and 8 of the train's 39 wagons careering off the track. Each wagon contained 50 tonnes of wheat. The leading loco rolled down an embankment, the driver and the train's observer trapped inside the cabin. Suffering only minor injuries, they were released by ambulance and police officers from nearby Gunnedah and taken to hospital. The truck driver was also lucky not to be seriously hurt.
The operation was ordered by the Berlin city government after some of the most serious violence in a decade in the new United Capital. The police, backed by bulldozers and armoured water cannon, stormed the street to break down barricades which had been erected by squatters. Described as anarchists, the squatters bombarded police with flares, petrol bombs, paving stones and tiles. The first police assault was repelled by a ferocious counterattack. A special commando unit was called in, directed from a helicopter above. The police clambered down ropes and entered occupied houses through windows to finally dislodge the inhabitants. At least 135 people were arrested, 10 policemen were injured.
When rescuers arrived at the accident scene 8 kilometres south of Nabiac, they were amazed that anyone could have survived. A 25-year-old Pacific Palms man had been killed instantly when his Mazda sedan collided head-on with a jeep towing a caravan. But while the caravan virtually exploded on impact and the jeep turned over, its 3 occupants escaped with relatively minor injuries. The driver, a 27-year-old man from Wallsend, suffered a broken ankle. Both passengers were 23-year-old women. One was thrown from the vehicle, the other trapped in the wreckage, but their injuries were confined to a broken toe and a broken sternum. A heavy roll bar fitted to the jeep undoubtedly played a part in saving their lives. A third car slammed into the wreckage, but its occupants were not injured. Traffic on the highway was delayed for several hours while the wreckage was cleared.
The morning began with speculation. Organisers had called for the City Council to dump sand into the sea to create a bank that would help build better waves. While the surfers did their best in a windy 1 metre swell, a meeting of council staff discussed the possibilities. Eventually, they opted to put their trust in Mother Nature.
Taking the recommendations from the beach inspectors and some of the local surfers around here, we're sticking with the banks we've got at the moment. We're not going to try and push any more sand out. We don't think it'll work anyway. And if this southerly comes through, we've got an increase as well. We're going to have good surfing.
A record number of cadets and juniors are competing. Cadets are 14 and under, and juniors are up to 19. They've come from around Australia, America, South Africa and Brazil. Peterson Rosa is through to round 2 together with Merryweather's Nicky Wood.
He's the man to keep an eye on because he's going to really get to know what the banks are doing out here. So it'll be interesting to watch Nicky progress right through to the final, let's hope. And we've got guys such as Marcus Bavant, who surfs for Merryweather, a Port Macquarie youngster, and also Matt Hoy, which has been going exceptionally well on the APSA tour.
A sole local sponsor is keeping the event afloat. Roy Lee of Pacific Dreams has poured thousands of dollars into the development of junior surfing.
With probably one of the best junior surfing contests in the world, we couldn't see it fold, so it was time to bite the bullet and do it yourself.
The competition heats up tomorrow and the top seeds hit the water on Sunday. Newcastle becomes Surf City next week.
Since the laws governing what can be run in the Super Sedan division have changed, no less than 6 Holden Commodores will rev up for the Coke Classic, taking on the Camaros and Firebirds. John Pine, Brewer, Bink, Robertson, McEwen, Lilford, Leslite are just some of the stars chasing the $5,500 purse. And on their hammer is the hard-charging Ron Pine in a brand new Commodore that was impressive at practice today.
It's early days yet, but we've done a lot of development in the other car that I built just like a fortnight ago. We're real pleased with the way it's going to go. I think this car's going to be fast.
For many years, Pine has built a reputation for flat-out driving despite the consequences, but this season that's all changed, with a thinking, calculating Ron Pine emerging.
I had a few string breaks over the years, I'm afraid, but I've got so much money involved in it now and the commitment's there, and I think when you're confident of your car and you're running up front, you don't have to be as aggressive. You can nearly pick your lap and which one and who you want to pass at any time.
Along with Pine, the defending Classic champion John Brown makes a return to Tomigo in a Super Sedan. For most of the season, Brown has campaigned a hot rod with great success, and he's happy to take on the locals in the Camaro.
At the moment we've got the Camaro, but probably later in the year we might have a Commodore too. We'll have to see how things go.
Ask Brownie what his chances are, and he's as subtle as he's racing.
No one recognises anyone that comes second. You either got to win it or stay home.
It's only 19 months since the first earth was disturbed there for housing construction. Today, 7 of the state's top builders unveiled their wares. Now they'll be open to the public 7 days a week. And the exhibition village is not just meant for people planning to build at Lakelands. Sponsors of the expo say no other such village has ever offered the style, range and facilities as this, with the involvement of builders Beechwood, Huxley, Masterton, Jumada, New Steel, Hodgetts and Streitberger. Lakelands itself boasts waterways, cycleways, playing fields and even a community centre. And Australia's largest building society, St George, has established a branch there in conjunction with the Homes Expo, offering on-the-spot financial advice. Already 40 families have set up home at Lakelands, with room for 300 or so more.
Peter Nilsson is a unique trainer, the master of 15 paces and 6 gallopers, and is currently enjoying the success only hours of sweat and toil can provide. He's hoping that he can add another trophy to the cupboard tomorrow night by winning the Foster's Newcastle Cup with Moormel. A 6-year-old bay mare who wouldn't win too many beauty contests, Moormel has had 41 starts for 14 wins and 7 placings in a career dogged with injury.
She's been a nice mare all through her career, and she's had a lot of leg problems, and she should have won some big races, some big size races, but in the meantime she broke down in her early career.
Moormel has been under 2 minutes for the mile on 2 occasions, and if the performance on opening night is any indication, she could pop up with the money once again. Given her light preparation and the liking of a wide track, Peter Nilsson is quietly confident.
Well, I think she's a big chance. Yeah, I know she's going to be there at the finish. At the last, it's a mile and a half, so all she can do is stay.
The Foster's Cup is race 4 on the 10-event program, and our resident expert Gary Harley's trifecta on the race is 8, 3 and 7. Keen student to beat Duchess Dulcinea and Blue Gum Chief. I might just have a quiet dollar on Maitland's Moormel.
Olympic Games silver medalist boxer Spike Chaney was in the ring fighting for Muswellbrook. So too Jeff Fennick, who himself was converted from street kid to world champion through the youth club system.
Just walking on the streets these days, you've got to really be careful. So it's good to have the Police Citizens Youth Club. You can learn boxing, you can learn other things here, and you can just learn to look after yourself, really.
Police admit Muswellbrook has serious youth delinquency problems.
90% of your problems these days are either alcohol or illegal drug based, and if we can in some way reduce the influence of that in the community, it's all the better for this community.
Officially opened by Education and Youth Services Minister Virginia Chadwick, the club has facilities for gymnastics, aerobics and boxing. The former Elcom apprentice training site has been transformed with $180,000 of local money raised in just 8 months, plus a $125,000 government grant. The centre will be run by voluntary workers from police and the community.
It's a way in a mean to get the kids off the street. I think there's plenty of talent here, and we might get some boxing world champions here out of Muswellbrook and plenty of other world champs.
The Sun Smart campaign is a timely one, at a time of year when the thoughts of most holidaymakers turn to the sun, sand and surf. But it's also a message that's particularly important for the Hunter region.
Australia leads the world in skin cancer. Unfortunately, we have the highest incidence of skin cancer. And in the Hunter, we have double the state average of melanoma. So it's a really worrying statistic. We're not sure what causes it. We're putting a lot of effort into finding out. But what we hope to do today and all through summer is to address that by promoting skin protection.
An extensive media campaign is planned for the next few months, and Sun Smart education centres will be held for surf lifesavers and council workers to help spread the slip, slop, slap message. Champion surfer Simon Law launched the campaign at Dixon Park today and encouraged grommets and adults alike to follow his example.
If I have to be out at this time of the day, I use a wetsuit or a rash vest, as well as a water-resistant sunblock. When I get out of the surf, I put on my hat, my sunglasses, and I stay out of the sun as much as possible.
The Sun Smart message will be taken to the beaches and council pools throughout the summer. Police were chasing this stolen Holden Statesman when it skidded down Arnold Street and crashed into Razzle and Emiko Higgins' house. The patched-up weatherboards show where it came to rest. Its bonnet pushed the interior wall onto the bed where the couple lay sleeping. It was sheer luck that Mrs. Higgins was not injured. But it's not the first time cars have come to grief here. 7 years ago, a vehicle crashed through the side gate and into the backyard. 4 years later, one landed on their front doorstep. So far, no one has been hurt, but Razzle Higgins has had enough. He wants an Armco rail installed in front of the house.
Like Macquarie Council, had I done what I asked them 10 years ago, this wouldn't have happened. But there is someone going to get killed around here.
He says if council ignores his plight, he may take drastic action.
We can't get one, well, I'm packing up. And I'll go to QA to somewhere where it remains safe.
The driver has been charged with several offences and will appear in Wallsend Local Court tomorrow. Alison Peters for NBN News. Hundreds of people filed through Newcastle Police Station. Most of the force's specialised equipment was on display and people of all ages took the opportunity to meet the police face to face. Little hands and eyes explored everything within reach, lining up for the police motorcycle, checking out the inside of paddy wagons, having fingerprints taken and trying out the police holding cells, a prisoner almost small enough to fit through the bars.
The three men left Nelson Bay on Thursday for a week-long fishing trip, but last night they were forced to abandon their vessel, the Shona B, after it started taking in water 200 kilometres off the coast. A jumbo jet on its way to Sydney from Fiji picked up an EPIRB signal from the raft at 9 o'clock, just 1 hour after the fishing vessel sank. However, it wasn't until shortly after 7 this morning that a Navy-seeking helicopter spotted the men and winched them from the ocean. They were airlifted to a waiting ambulance at Fletcher Park, unhurt but tired and weary from their night at sea.
We were coming back in because it was getting rough, and it was, probably 4 metres swell, if not more. But the bait just started taking water into the stern. We got the life raft off the roof, chucked it in the water and in the raft, and she went down.
It only took about 3 minutes for it all to happen. You know, from realising it we were going until getting the raft in and getting out of it.
While it's not known what happened, authorities say the men did everything right in the short time they had to scramble from the sinking vessel.
They're obviously well prepared. Their life raft was well set up. They were obviously cold and wet. They only had 3 minutes to abandon their vessel. So lightly clad, cold, but very glad to see us.
Local pro Tony Mangan started proceedings with a few do's and don'ts of the game. This is the third year the event has been staged, with the Hunter Golf Professionals and NIB expecting to raise $20,000 for the Angel One appeal. About 160 golfers teed off, paying $100 for the privilege. Others dug even deeper to accompany international pro Roger Davis. He's won 23 tournaments and spends 8 months of the year travelling the pro circuit. Missing today were his characteristic +2 trousers and diamond checkered socks.
Most people are too conservative to wear them, so and the long pants is where the market is, so that's where I've decided to go.
No diamond studded socks under it all?
No diamond studded socks.
He enjoys giving some of his time to a worthy cause.
And you meet a lot of nice people and they're fun days. That's not the pressure of a golf tournament where you've got to really try over every shot. I mean, I'll be out here trying, but, it's also a relaxing day as well.
Gentlemanly great of the game, Kel Nagel, showed his finesse off the tee. Then lanky, long-driving left-hander Gary Wise gave his version. His personal best is more than 400 metres. This shot probably finished up in someone's backyard.
The Rural Aged Care Information Service is a manual in 2 parts, each containing colour-coded sections to make finding information easy. It's a comprehensive guidebook to all government and community-based services, accommodation and entertainment for the aged in the Hunters rural areas. The booklet is unique because it's compiled from a computer database that allows information to be constantly updated. Each month a section will be reviewed and, if necessary, replaced.
The difference with our information service is that it not only provides you with data now, but it also will guarantee you updated information to exchange with the booklets that are contained within the manual. So you are assured that the information that you have is updated at all times.
Launched today, the booklet should begin to appear in health centres and aged facilities over the next few months.
Round 2 of the BHP Steel International attracted a healthy crowd and a clean 1 metre swell. Most had come to watch local boy Nicky Wood take on Nora Head's Glen Winton, and the crowd favourite didn't let his supporters down. Winton answered the challenge with some radical moves of his own, but after watching 6 of his Merriweather clubmates get whitewashed in round 1, Wood was in no mood to be beaten.
Made me determined, but I was nervous at the same time because I was thinking, gee, it must be hard out there kind of thing, but I got a really good first wave and that really helped, so I went on from there.
Earlier in the day, a relieved Gary Elkerton grabbed a last-minute win over Brazilian Flavio Patarats.
Got a few butterflies, especially it's been a pretty tight year for me for the world title race, and I feel a lot better now.
Reigning BHP champ Tom Carroll has had a shocking year on the circuit, but he was all power and precision against Terrigal's Ross Clark-Jones and says he'll get even better.
I was falling off a bit out there and I was a bit disappointed, so I'm going to have to lift my act up, I think.
The traditional afternoon onshore wind made a mess of the waves and forced world champ Martin Potter into the shore break. It proved to be a monumental mistake. Potter's surfing was razor sharp, but Cronulla's Glenn Pringle waited patiently for the bigger outside waves and was rewarded with a controversial victory. He's emerged as the giant killer of the contest and will go into tomorrow's clash with Sonny Garcia on a definite roll.
This would definitely be a career highlight for me, definitely. The boards are going well at the moment and, you know, I feel comfortable, I haven't got any injuries and I'm just happy to, you know, be out there and having fun.
American Tom Curran also progressed, but not before he was pushed all the way by Hawaiian Derek Ho. Round 3 begins tomorrow. Bruce Mackenzie, NBN News.